We don't need lists. We need somebody to come up and tell us what happened.
White balance.
I'm Randy Mackey. I'm the state representative for 12th District. Mackey, M-A-C-K-E-Y.
First name?
Randy.
Talk real loud, please.
I'm the elected state representative in the 12th District, which is Columbia County. It includes Columbia County, which the least girl was from Columbia County. I witnessed the death this morning. The state constitution has been upheld. I think anyone who's elected in the state of Florida should stand for the death penalty.
Could you tell us what happened?
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much.
What would you like to know of what happened?
What was his last request? What was his last
He
request?
said give his love to his friends and his family. He made eye contact with all the people sitting there who were witnesses. He acknowledged the state attorney, the people who had dealt with him previously. As a matter of fact, he even spoke to them. He made eye contact and spoke to them.
What did he say? What did he say?
Just hello.
What was his demeanor? What did
He was calm, but he was visibly shaken. It was obvious that the man had some remorse about what had happened.
How was that manifested? What did you see?
When he was brought in, he seemed to be being carried, not able to go under his own power.
Support on either side?
Right, support on both sides of it. The interesting thing, when he sat there, though, and started making eye contact, he seemed to regain a lot of his composure, which was interesting to me. I think someone who was in his particular predicament at that time, that wouldn't have been the case, but it was.
He made eye contact from the chair?
Yes, he made eye contact from the chair.
How long was he in the chamber before he was actually...
I'm not sure of the time that he was in
Did
the
he say
chamber.
anything about the murders that he committed?
He said not a thing about the murders whatsoever. Nothing.
Did he express sorrow, remorse?
He expressed no sorrow, no remorse, made no statement about any of the past murders or anything in any way, shape, or form.
Did you observe anything physically after the electricity was turned on?
Well, when they were checking him to make sure that he was dead, you know, we watched that process, and when they lifted the veil from his face, I could see his face, I could see his eyes, but it was a very sterile situation where the death penalty was carried out. When I served in the armed forces in Vietnam, I saw a lot of people die a lot worse than he did.
Randy, you said that the Constitution was carried out this morning, but it took decades to do it for Bundy. What does that say about the criminal justice system?
It says that we need some change in our justice system. It says we need to set some standards as far as times and get these appeals in on a timely basis. This was too costly. It made a mockery of the system, and the pain that went with the family over this 11-year period was just incredible.
What
We need some changes.
has this situation left with Benny? What kind of legacy has Bundy left with Benny?
I think what it's done is told the people of the state of Florida that the judicial system is a shambles and that we need a change. I think by the numbers of people you see here this morning in support of the death penalty, I think that speaks for itself.
What thought went through your mind when you saw him being electrocuted?
It's about time. It's about time.
What specifically were his last words? There's a lot more.
His last words was just give my love to my family and to my friends. Very short period of time. They put the mic in front of him, and those were his only words. It looked like he wanted to say something else, but he couldn't go on from that point. They took the microphone away.
Did he say that when he was actually sitting in the chair or
Yes,
standing?
he was actually sitting in the chair. He had been strapped in, he'd been buckled in at that point.
Any
Was the
reaction
Leach
from the
family
witnesses
there?
in the room there? Anybody
I
say
saw no
anything?
reaction from the witnesses. I think most of the people in there felt like that I felt. It was about time. This has been going on for too long.
Were you all behind a glass?
Only from the standpoint of the voltage going through his body. You know, there was a natural reaction of the jerking of his muscles and tenseness, but that was it.
How long did that last? Talk to the mic.
That lasted for just
Talk to the
minutes.
mic.
Into the mics, please. Into the mics, Steve.
What were his hands like?
I think this is going to do a lot for Lake City itself. I looked out among the crowd here this morning. We have a lot of people from Columbia County. It's a close-knit community, and for a change, we've had something that's been carried out in the judicial system they can be somewhat proud of. And it's torn the community up for a long time.
Were you behind a glass wall?
I was sitting in the second row, on the end, behind the glass wall.
There were seats there, and you all
Yes.
watched from seats, and he was right in front of you. There was no glass or no curtain or anything.
Just a glass there. There was a glass there,
You were
yes.
behind glass.
We were behind the glass.
Were you on the right or the left side?
I was on the left side of the room. I was to his right.
You have official times, Bob Macmaster. You have official times. Can you give us his last words again?
His last words, give my love to my family and to my friends.
Can you spell your last name one more time?
Mackey, M-A-C-K-E-Y.
When did they put the bail on? Republican or Democrat?
Democrat.
Lake City.
Conservative Democrat. Lake City.
Official times. Bob Macmaster.
I have spoken to the Leaches. Yes, I have. I think the Leaches just would at this time prefer to be left alone and with no mention one way or the other, and they're glad that it's over as well.
What was their reaction?
No, I have not since the execution. Yesterday.
The chamber, they established chairs that are open down there.
No, there were folding chairs that could be moved around. Right. Okay. Thank y'all.
Okay, Bob.
Bob Macmaster, Information Director with the Department of Corrections. M-A-C-M-A-S-T-E-R. I can tell you that Theodore Bundy was executed at 7:16 this morning in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. He was executed for the murder of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach of Lake City, Florida. As you know, he was also under sentence of death for the murder of 2 young women in Tallahassee. Earlier this morning, Bundy was offered a last meal of steak, eggs, and hash browns, which he refused. His only last words after he was strapped into the electric chair were, "Jim and Fred, I'd like you to give my love to my family and friends." That's all he said.
Jim and Fred, who are they?
I don't know. I can tell you that one of the attorney's names is Jim Coleman, and I believe he was present.
Did he call his mother last night or this morning?
I don't know. At the van as we were coming out, you mean? Traditionally, some of the wire service people do that. You'd have to check with them to see if that's what they did this time. Very well could be. Fred Lawrence, Reverend Fred Lawrence, spent much of the early morning hours with Bundy. He was at his cell front. He was at his cell front after 1 o'clock after the official visitation was completed. I don't know. I believe both Coleman and Lawrence were there, but I can't verify that for you.
How about other viewing prisoners to the execution itself, starting with capturing it?
You want to start with that? After the last meal was offered and declined, around 6 o'clock, his head was shaved, his lower right leg was shaved, and he was then showered and dressed. He wore a blue shirt, dark blue trousers. At exactly 7 o'clock, Superintendent Court.
Blue shirt?
Yeah.
Yesterday you said it was white.
I said yesterday it was white because in the past it has been white. It appeared blue to me this morning.
Like the blue prison shirt?
A very light blue shirt.
Is that prison issue shirt?
I couldn't tell.
Then what happened? What was his demeanor through all this? From that point on.
After he was brought into the execution chamber, he was strapped into the chair.
What's that?
Check for you here. It was completed about 7:04 a.m. He was strapped into the chair. He was asked by the superintendent if he had any last words. At that time, he made the statement I already gave to you. He said, "Jim and Fred, give my love to my family and friends." They then attached the chin strap and the black veil that's placed in front of his face. Superintendent Barton checked with the governor's office to see if there was any last words on stays, anything like that. There were not. So at that time, the superintendent nodded toward the executioner. The executioner then pressed the button and carried out the execution.
Did he need assistance coming into the